This episode is provided by Thomas Allgaier and Frennis, based on the most relevant LinkedIn posts about AI and B2B marketing in calendar weeks 31 and 32. Frennis is a B2B market research company that supports enterprise marketing teams in unlocking the full potential of their customer data with the help of AI. So, what if I told you that by the time we hit, 2028, your absolute biggest, most lucrative client might not even have a pulse?
I mean, it's a super jarring thought, right? But honestly, that is exactly where the data is pointing us today.
It totally changes everything. So the mission for this deep dive is to really unpack this massive fundamental shift that's happening right under our feet.
Yeah, the center of gravity in B2B marketing is radically moving.
Right. We're going to explore how brands basically have to stop optimizing to be just, found and start optimizing to be cited by machines.
Exactly. And we'll look at how top-tier sales teams are, literally rebuilding their entire infrastructure around encoded AI judgment.
Yeah, and why marketing leadership is frankly kind of scrambling right now to figure out how to drive this thing before they crash it.
The stakes have really never been higher. I mean, we are transitioning out of a reality where you controlled your digital real estate.
Right. The good old days.
Yeah, you used to optimize your website and then you ranked on Google. It was a very direct relationship. But now we are entering this world where you're completely dependent on how an autonomous black box system interprets your brand.
It fundamentally rewrites what top-of-funnel marketing even is, because, let's be real, the old rules of search are just dead.
Totally dead.
It's no longer about whether you can keyword stuff your way to page one. Today, the only question that actually matters is, does this AI model trust your brand enough to cite you in its response to a buyer?
And how it builds that trust is where things get incredibly complex. Kyle Atwater-Morley recently unpacked the mechanism behind this, and it's a really critical detail for anyone listening.
Okay, break it down for us.
So AI platforms are weighting what the wider web says about your business far more heavily than what your business says about itself.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, you can have the slickest homepage in the world, claiming you're the leading solution in your space, but the AI is out there looking for external validation. Kyle introduces this concept of co-occurrence as the new currency of trust.
Wait, let's pause on that. Co-occurrence sounds like a term from a computer science textbook. How does that actually look out in the wild for a marketing team?
Well, let's put it in plain English. Think of it as semantic proximity. It's all about how often your brand name sits physically next to a specific concept across the internet.
Okay.
So if you sell, say, enterprise cloud security, the AI model is scraping third-party sites, industry directories, Reddit forums, independent tech blogs.
News articles, all that stuff.
Right, all of it. And if your company's name consistently appears in the exact same paragraph as the phrase enterprise cloud security out there in the wild, the model maps a connection.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, every single time that happens, it strengthens the machine's mathematical confidence that you are, in fact, the answer to that specific problem.
I mean, I get the logic, but doesn't that just invite a whole new era of spam? If I'm a marketer, can't I just go buy 1,000 cheap press releases to force my brand name to sit next to those keywords?
You could try, but the models are actually actively guarding against that, which brings us to a massive risk that Stephanie Amini highlighted. The AI is highly, highly sensitive to inconsistency.
What do you mean by inconsistency?
Well, if your website tells one story and then your LinkedIn company page highlights a slightly different value proposition and, your Crunchbase profile hasn't been updated since your Series A 3 years ago.
Right, which happens all the time.
Exactly. And maybe your CEO uses entirely different jargon on a podcast. When all that happens, the AI detects a fractured identity.
Oh, that makes sense. It's basically running a background check on you. And if your story changes depending on which reference the investigator calls, you just fail the check.
You don't get the job. That is a brilliant way to frame it. And in the world of large language models, a fractured identity equals a catastrophic drop in confidence. Yeah, if the model isn't highly confident in exactly what you do, it doesn't guess. It just omits you. You vanish from the output entirely.
Which is terrifying for a brand. But here is my issue with this whole paradigm. If we're relying on these black box models to, validate us, how do we even measure if our strategy is working?
That is the big question.
Right. How do you track a metric that just changes its mind?
You've hit on the exact crisis happening in SEO departments right now. Peter Rota issued a pretty stark warning about this. He went and tested current AI visibility ranking tools and found they are just deeply flawed.
Flawed how? Like the data is wrong.
Well, because AI is non-deterministic, meaning it can generate a totally different answer to the exact same question. He found that a brand's position in an AI response can swing by as much as 10 spots on the exact same prompt.
Wait, really? Just from asking the same thing twice?
Yes, just asked a few minutes apart.
That's wild. If the numbers change every time you hit refresh, that's not a performance metric. That's just a random number generator.
Precisely. Which is why Zoe Mustafa is arguing that we basically need to torch the traditional SEO dashboard entirely.
Torch it all. I love it. So what's the alternative?
He suggests this new 5-step pipeline to measure AI visibility. And it requires a totally different mindset. Step 1, can the AI even find you?
Right, foundation level.
Step 2, can it retrieve you when a relevant query actually happens?
Okay, find and retrieve.
Step 3, does it actually cite you as evidence? Step 4, and this is the really big one, what is your share of authority?
Share of authority, meaning what exactly?
Meaning, when it talks about the topic, are you the central focus or are you just a tiny footnote buried beneath your biggest competitor?
Ah, got it.
And finally, step 5, does the AI actually recommend you as the solution to the buyer?
Man, that is a much heavier lift than just asking, did we get the click?
Oh, absolutely.
What strikes me about those 5 steps is how fragmented the landscape of these models really is. We tend to treat AI like it's one single giant brain, but it's really not.
Not at all.
Julian Shou shared this fascinating experiment that just perfectly proves this. A research team spun up 2 websites completely filled with AI-generated slop, just thousands of nonsensical, low-quality articles, all published in a single day.
A classic spam tactic. So how did the search engines handle it?
Well, Google's traditional search engine worked exactly as it should. It identified the slop and completely de-indexed the sites. They vanished from traditional search pages.
Right, making the system work.
But here's the crazy part. The AI answer engines reacted completely differently. Even though Google kicked them out, citations for this AI slop in AI answer engines actually rose 17-fold.
Wait, 17-fold?
Yeah.
Just based on the sheer volume of content?
Yeah, just volume. And most of those citations came from Microsoft Copilot. It completely proves that human visibility in traditional search and AI visibility in these new engines, they're playing by 2 totally different sets of rules.
And even within the AI engines, the rules change depending on whose model you're actually looking at.
Oh, for sure.
Andrew Warden shared some SEMrush data that puts a hard number on this fragmentation. We know Google AI overviews cite about 64% of the brands they mention.
Okay, 64%.
But Gemini, which remember is built by the exact same company, cites only 30% of the brands it mentions.
Wow.
Yeah. You aren't just playing a different game than traditional SEO. You're playing a totally different game on every single platform.
It's honestly exhausting just thinking about it. Actually, if you want to make sure you're staying ahead of these rapid week-by-week shifts in how AI is reshaping marketing, make sure you hit the subscribe button right now.
Seriously, you don't want to miss it.
Yeah, it's the easiest way to ensure you don't miss our future deep dives because, as we're seeing, this playbook is being rewritten literally as we speak.
It really, really is. Now, let's follow the logic of Zoe Mustafa's pipeline for a second. Let's say you nail those 5 steps. You've secured visibility, the AI trusts you, and it finally recommends you.
We popped the champagne, right?
Not quite. Because a recommendation from a machine doesn't automatically put money in the bank.
Fair point.
How do you convert that AI citation into actual closed-won revenue?
Yeah.
This moves us directly into the execution layer go-to-market in sales.
Okay, let's get into it.
And the shift here is profound. We are moving away from using AI as a basic automation tool where it just sends emails faster to using it as an encoded layer of sales judgment.
An encoded layer of sales judgment. I love the sound of that, but I have to say I'm a bit skeptical. When I look at the market, most AI sales development reps, the AI SDR rollouts, they're flaming out. They're annoying buyers and failing to book meetings.
Victor Edifier actually addressed this exact phenomenon. He argues that it is almost never a failure of the software itself. It's a catastrophic underinvestment by the leadership team.
How so?
Well, companies are buying an AI tool and treating a capability that should replace a $100,000 human hire like it's a $29 a month plug-and-play subscription.
Oh, wow, yeah.
They turn it on, give it a super generic prompt, and just expect magic.
So how do you actually encode judgment then? Because you obviously can't just tell an AI, hey, go be a great salesperson.
Exactly. Victor says the secret of the winning teams is deep, deep architectural work. They analyze hundreds of hours of call recordings.
Right.
They identify the one specific hyper-nuanced thing their absolute best human rep does better than anyone else.
Like what?
Maybe it's how they connect a really specific pain point to a very niche feature of their product. Then they teach the AI to replicate that exact logical pathway at scale. They don't want a generic outbound bot. They want to literally clone their top performer's brain.
Okay, when you frame it like that, it makes total sense. It's not about volume at all. It's about scaling real expertise.
Precisely.
And Ilya Ganelin gave us a look under the hood at what happens when a company actually gets this right. Stripe built an in-house platform for AI native work called Kai.
Right.
Yeah, and this wasn't just like a Chrome extension they downloaded. It's a foundational piece of their workflow now.
And the numbers coming out of that are staggering. Account executives who use Kai produce twice the sales activity.
Which is great, but activity is just noise if it doesn't actually convert.
Exactly. But the real metric is that they create 26% more revenue opportunities and close 39% more deals compared to the weeks they don't use the platform.
A 39% bump in closed deals. I mean, that isn't just a marginal efficiency gain. That's a completely different tax bracket for those reps.
Totally.
But, before everyone listening pauses this deep dive to go buy an AI SDR, we do need to look at the ceiling of this technology because automation has hard limits, especially if your only competitive advantage is that you just have access to data.
Right, the ramp story.
Yes. Elric Leglar shared a really revealing case study about this. Ramp, the finance automation company, actually shut down its highly successful AI SDR system back in December.
Wow.
Yeah, they had this internal system called OATs, the Outbound Automated Team. And for years, it was an absolute juggernaut. OATs drove 30% of their entire sales pipeline.
So if it's driving almost a third of your pipeline, why on earth would you turn it off?
Because the automated funnel just plateaued. They realized that by 2025, pretty much every single one of their competitors had access to the exact same data sources and the exact same automated outbound products.
So the differentiation completely vanished.
Exactly. If your moat is just, we send personalized AI emails faster than the other guy, you don't actually have a moat. Ramp realized they sell complex financial products that require deep trust and real human conversations to close.
Right.
So they shut down the bot layer, but, and this is the genius part, they didn't throw out the infrastructure. They kept the underlying Snowflake data warehouse they built for it.
So they shifted the technology from replacing the SDRs to arming them instead.
Exactly. Instead of an autonomous bot just spamming an inbox, that massive Snowflake data infrastructure now sits directly on the human rep screen.
That's smart.
Yeah, it gives the human instant, real-time context like highlighting that a prospect just installed 3 competing tools. So the human can have a vastly smarter, highly trusted conversation.
That is a brilliant strategic pivot, and it perfectly illustrates a core argument from Max Foster. He noted that an AI tool, say, Claude, only becomes truly useful for a sales team the minute you stop treating it like a conversational chatbot.
Right. You have to stop talking to it like it's a smart intern sitting at a typewriter.
Yes, exactly. Max says it needs to be an integrated layer. You need specific plugins for account research. You need direct connectors feeding into your existing tech stack like HubSpot or ZoomInfo.
Making it seamless.
The AI needs to run on top of your data, autonomously pulling context in the background, rather than sitting in a separate browser tab waiting for a human to type out a massive prompt every single time they want to send an email.
It just has to be baked into the workflow. But as we're marveling at all this efficiency, we have to ask the uncomfortable question. If your core go-to-market strategy is fundamentally flawed, isn't AI just going to help you fail at the speed of light?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Are teams buying AI to fix a fundamentally broken pipeline, or are they just automating the pursuit of dead deals?
Oof, yeah.
Because generating 1,000 highly personalized, perfectly encoded emails for a product that nobody actually wants does not solve your revenue problem.
Ouch. But it's the truth. And this kind of brings us to the harsh reality of marketing leadership today. We've seen mechanics of visibility. We've seen how top sales teams are encoding judgment. But who is actually orchestrating all of this? Like, who is designing these systems?
Right now, the data suggests almost no one.
Really?
Yeah, the technology is moving at light speed, but organizational readiness is lagging painfully behind. Suzanne Bouffard cited Gartner's 2026 CMO Spend Survey, which found that 70% of CMOs want to be the primary leaders in AI within their organizations.
Sir, everyone wants to lead.
but only 30% say they actually feel ready to scale it.
That is a massive gap between ambition and capability. Why are they so unready?
Well, Liz Martin's insights give us the answer. She reports that while 75% of marketers have adopted AI in some form, 84% of them are still just using it to run generic, run-of-the-mill campaigns.
Just doing the same old stuff, but slightly faster?
Exactly. The core issue isn't that the AI models aren't smart enough. It's that the foundational operating model of the marketing department is completely broken. You have siloed data, fragmented approval processes, and totally disconnected teams.
Yeah, you simply cannot layer a hyper-efficient, autonomous AI onto a dysfunctional, bureaucratic org chart and expect it to magically fix your company.
You really can't.
So what are the teams who are actually getting this right doing differently? Sandeep Gulati says their very first move is avoiding the biggest trap in the market right now, which is over-standardizing on one single tool.
Oh, the one-size-fits-all fallacy. The idea that you just buy enterprise licenses for one platform and call it a day.
Exactly. You can't force one model to do every single task well. Sandeep says the elite marketing teams map out their entire workflow first.
Workflow first, tools second.
Yes. Only then do they assign specific models to specific jobs based on what the architecture of that model is inherently good at. For instance, you might use ChatGPT for ideation and creative brainstorming because it's super conversational.
Right.
But then you shift to Claude for deep analysis and long-form reasoning because of its massive context window. You pull in Perplexity when you need real-time research and live citations, and then you use Gemini for seamless integration into your workspace documents.
That is true system design. That is looking at AI as a composite architecture rather than just a single software subscription. And that mindset perfectly aligns with where the industry is heading next.
Which is where?
Carol and Healy share Gartner projections showing that 60% of brands will use agentic AI for one-to-one customer interactions by 2028.
Okay, let's define agentic AI for the marketer listening on their commute right now. How is an agent different from what we're using today?
That's a great question. Today, you prompt an AI and it gives you an answer. Then it stops.
Right, it waits for you.
An agentic AI is autonomous and goal-seeking. You give it an objective like, hey, nurture this list of 500 leads until they book a meeting, and the agent figures out the steps, writes the emails, analyzes the replies, adjusts its strategy, and executes all the tasks without you constantly prompting it.
That sounds incredibly powerful, but also like a massive management nightmare if you don't know what you're doing.
Which is exactly the problem. Renee Jones highlighted BCG data showing a massive disconnect here. 96% of CMOs claim AI is driving end-to-end transformation in their companies.
96%.
Yeah, but yet only 8% are actually running multi-agent campaigns. The reality is, the CMO role has to fundamentally shift. You can no longer be a campaign architect. You have to become a system designer. You aren't designing the creative anymore. You are designing the parameters and the ethical boundaries for the machine that generates the creative.
And while leaders are trying to figure out how to design these boundaries, there is this massive ticking clock on the regulatory side that almost no one is talking about.
Of the EU regulations.
Yes. Felix Schlager flagged that the EU AI Act's transparency and labeling rules are enforceable right now, not in 2027. Now.
That has huge implications for deployment. What exactly does that mean for, say, an AI SDR?
It means any AI system that interacts with a human, whether that's a customer support chatbot on your website or an AI SDR sending cold outbound emails, must explicitly disclose that it is an AI.
Wow.
Yeah. If you try to pass an agent off as a human SDR named Dave who just, loves grabbing virtual coffee, you are in direct violation of the law.
I can imagine that slapping an I am a bot disclaimer on an outbound email is going to severely impact conversion rates. But what happens if you just ignore it?
The fines are staggering, up to 15 million euros or 3% of your global turnover for non-compliance.
15 million euros.
Yeah.
That changes the calculus entirely. You can't just unleash these goal-seeking agents into the wild without strict governance and compliance frameworks built into the core system from day one.
Exactly. It's like we're handing out Formula One cars to marketing teams, but the track they are driving on is made of dirt, they don't have a steering wheel, and they don't even know the rules of the road.
That's a great analogy.
If you don't design the system, establish the governance, and prep the organization, the car just crashes faster, and it takes a 15 million euro chunk out of your budget when it hits the wall.
The technology has vastly outpaced the infrastructure to support it, that's for sure. But But if we connect all of this, the shift in visibility, the encoding of sales judgment, the rise of autonomous agents, I want to leave you with one final mind-bending paradigm shift from Amel Asin Padilla.
All right, lay it on us.
Amel argues that we are rapidly moving beyond B2B business to business and entering the era of B2A, business to agent.
Business to agent.
Yes. Agent-mediated purchases are projected to top $15 trillion by 2028.
$15 trillion. Just let that number sink in for a second.
Think about what that means for your strategy tomorrow morning. Your brand is no longer just competing for human attention. A human buyer might not even do the initial vendor research anymore.
Right.
Your brand is competing to be selected by logical, highly efficient, completely unsentimental AI agents that are tasked with finding the best software for their company.
So if your digital presence isn't structured to be read, interpreted, and fully trusted by a machine,
you will be entirely excluded from the consideration set before a human buyer ever even sees your name. The agent will compile a short list of, say, 3 vendors for the human to review, and if the AI doesn't understand your co-occurrence, your authority, and your consistency, you simply won't be on that list.
wow.
It is the ultimate invisible filter.
That completely redefines what it means to build a brand in this decade. You aren't just pitching to people anymore. You are pitching to the algorithm that works for them. If you enjoyed this episode, new episodes drop every 2 weeks. Also, check out our other editions on field marketing, channel and partner marketing, account-based marketing, MarTech, go-to-market, and social selling. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Take a hard look at your brand's digital footprint tomorrow because remember, well, machines are reading. Make sure you're giving them a good story. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.